Welcome to Fantasia, home to Melodious. My name's Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys a brand new type of video. Now, ever since I started posting my deck profiles again, I've gotten a lot of requests from you guys to start playtesting with some hands from my decks. Now, I actually believe this is a very good opportunity, especially for newer players who are trying to get into these archetypes, to kind of see what the more common play strings look like. Now, I have a pretty casual setup here with my extra deck and my main deck, and here's my center field marker to show where the center of the field is. The two extra monster zones are going to be right here. This series is kind of different than my typical combo tutorials, because my combo tutorials are going to revolve more around structured plays, the core plays of the deck that make it function. They're like the more optimized plays, you could say. Now, these play strings that we're going to be going through are just random. We're just going to draw 5 cards, see what we start with. They may be optimized, they may not be optimized, but we're going to see where we end up. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into this. So going into my deck, I'm just going to take out 5 cards so we have our starting hand. So that is 4 and that is 5. Now let's see what we start off with. Oh, the Maxi is pretty good. The Ghost Ogre is actually good too. Ritual Sanctuary, Set Rotation, and Hymn of Light. Now, this is actually a pretty ridiculous opening hand, because what we have here is we have 2 hand traps that are amazing. We also have access to field spells and deck thinner, and we have the Hymn of Light that we can use to search out another piece from our deck. So what I actually want to do here is activate the Set Rotation. And when you activate the set rotation, you can set 1 field spell to your side of the field and 1 field spell to your opponent's side of the field. So going through here, Magical Meltdown is a pretty good card to have, and also Ritual Sanctuary is also pretty good. Now, because we don't have enough ritual pieces to actually start off our ritual plays, as you can see here, we only have the Ritual Sanctuary and the Hymn of Light. So if we get 1 search with the Ritual Sanctuary, we still won't be set up for our ritual plays. So what I'm actually going to do is give our opponent a copy of Ritual Sanctuary. I'm going to set that to their side of the field, and I'm going to set the Magical Meltdown to my side of the field here. Magical Meltdown, of course, will give us a search for the Alistair, and Alistair would actually allow us to go into a fusion monster. So we actually get some board presence going, even if we don't open optimally. So now what I want to do is activate the Magical Meltdown. Oops, I believe the field spell zone is moved here because the pendulum zones aren't there anymore. So anyway, we're just going to go and search for the Alistair right here. There we go, Alistair. Luckily for us, the invocation's already right there, so we can search it later. Anyway, with the Magical Meltdown activated, we get to search the Alistair, we get to add it to our hand. Now, as you can see here, we have the Ritual Sanctuary, the Hymn of Light, and we have the Alistair. We don't want to do anything with our hand traps, so we're going to put these in the back. We kind of just want to hold on to those for our opponent's turn. Now, what I would do here is, I would actually activate this Ritual Sanctuary by destroying this Magical Meltdown, and then setting this right there. Now, the Ritual Sanctuary I can actually use to activate and pitch this Hymn of Light that we don't actually need at the moment. I'm just checking how many spells we have in the graveyard. And we're actually going to search for a Cyber Angel Benten. Now, this Benten is not going to be tributed, so we can't get a search with its effect, unfortunately. But what it is it's a light monster that's searchable with this deck, and with Alistair, we can actually go for a Mechaba. So with this, I'm going to normal summon the Alistair to my side of the field, and use its effect to search out a copy of Invocation. Now with Invocation, I can easily go for my fusion plays, and I don't really have to worry because I have hand traps backing me up. Now, activate the Invocation right here. You have to banish the Alistair, and then you have to send the Benten from your hand to the graveyard right here. And what we're going to do is summon the Mechaba. I believe it's on the top, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. Mechaba, we're actually going to summon it straight to our extra monster zone right there. Now, what you can do now is when the Invocation's in the graveyard, you can activate its effect to shuffle it back into your deck, to add the Alistair that was banished back to your hand. So this is actually a really amazing setup because what you have here is you have a max C, so if your opponent starts special summoning, you have something to deter them. You have a Ghost Ogre that can pop some problem cards, maybe they activate a field spell. As you notice, we don't have any spells here in our hand for Mechaba to negate spell cards, so the most dangerous ones are probably going to be field spells like Spiral Resort in the type, so you can always use Ghost Ogre and destroy that. And we also have, well, we have a monster negation in the form of Mechaba, so you can always pitch, you know, whatever you're not using at the moment. Probably not going to be the Max C, but yeah, Max C might help you, you know, potentially draw into some spells or some additional monsters for you to pitch with the Mechaba. And we have the Alistair that can protect our Mechaba from battle by just increasing his attack by 1,000 points by setting it from the hand to the graveyard. So this is actually a pretty decent setup. And yeah, that's going to be our first hand. Now let's jump into the second one. Alright, welcome back guys. I've already shuffled the deck and now we're going to go into our second sample hand. So we have 3 cards, 4 cards, and 5 cards here. Now, let's see what we have in store for us this time. Okay, Preparation of Rites is definitely very good. Ritual Sanctuary, might be able to go for a Ritual Summon here. Yep, Ritual Sanctuary, Soprano, and Alistair. Okay, so this hand is actually pretty decent overall. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. So we have 1 copy of Ritual Sanctuary that we just that we can just activate right here. And with Ritual Sanctuary, what you can do is actually pitch this copy of Ritual Sanctuary right here, and you go for a search. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for what are we missing here? Yeah, we don't have a Ritual Spell. So what we need to do is go for Ritual Spell right here. So we're going to look for the Hymn of Light. There we go. There's a copy. So we have a copy of Hymn of Light that we can use to summon Saphra with. Now with this Hymn of Light right here, we actually need the Saphra, so we're going to search it out with the Preparation of Rites. So activate the Preparation of Rites, and we're going to search. And look for the blue. Those are the wrong blue cards. There we go. We have the Saphra right here. We're going to search that, add it to our hand. Now we have the Hymn of Light and the Saphra, and we have a few monsters in our hand, so we can actually go for a ritual play. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to I'm just going to put that there. And now, instead of just going for the Saphra by going for the Hymn of Light and tributing both of these monsters, what you want to do is actually summon your Alistair first. And with your Alistair, you can grab a copy of Invocation from your deck. This is actually going to be a pretty good setup overall, because we can get 2 pretty good monsters on the field. Now, we're looking for that Invocation. There we go. So searching out the Invocation with the Alistair. There's no need to shuffle for me right now. But yeah, so now what you do is you take the Hymn of Light, you can activate this, then you tribute your Alistair and your Soprano from your hand, and now you can go for the Ritual Summon for your Saphra right here. Now the reason why we do it like this is that you can get the Invocation from your deck. And what the Invocation can do is actually, you don't have to fusion summon with cards from your hand and your side of the field. If you're summoning an Invoked monster, you can actually banish cards from your graveyard too. So you activate the Invocation, and what you can do is actually banish this Soprano and the Alistair. We're going to banish those. And what we can do is actually summon the Mechaba from our extra deck right here into our extra monster zone. Now, again, Invocation, when it's in the graveyard, you can shuffle it back into your deck to target the Alistair that was banished earlier, and you can add that back to your hand. So now we have something that can boost up the attack of our Mechaba, and we also have a monster effect negation if we choose to discard him instead. Now the cool thing is that I'm going to shuffle this deck because once we enter the end phase, Saphra can trigger one of her effects. So you can either add add a light monster from your graveyard back to your hand, in which we don't have one. You could make your opponent discard 1 random card from their hand, or you can actually draw 2 cards and discard 1 card from your own hand. And that's typically what we want to do in this deck. You want to gain more advantage. So you already have the Alistair here, so we're going to draw 2 cards and see what we have to discard. So drawing 2 cards here, oh, that's actually very nice. So we have the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which we can use to pop something, so that's additional layer of disruption on top of the Mechaba. But what we have here is a little dilemma. So you have the Alistair that can protect your Mechaba from battle, and you have the Magical Meltdown that can search out an Alistair, for next turn, so that's actually kind of nice. But if you discard the Magical Meltdown, you don't have a spell negation with your for your Mechaba, and you definitely don't want to discard the Ghost Ogre because it's just an extra form of disruption. So it's down between these two right here. Now, in most cases, you know, against decks like Spirals and stuff, you really do have the Ghost Ogre to already disrupt their field spell, and I would most likely just discard this Alistair just so you have the versatility in either negating with another spell with your Magical Meltdown just by discarding it with your Mechaba, or what you can do is if you actually don't end up negating with Mechaba, you can activate this next turn, search out another Alistair, and then summon it, search Invocation, and go from there. So it's not too bad overall. So yeah, that just so happened to be our second hand. Let's move on into the next one. Okay guys, welcome back to our last run for this video. So we're just going to again draw 5 cards. I've already shuffled the deck off screen so that, you know, we don't take up too much time here. So that's 4 and that's 5. So now let's see what we have. So we have a Saphra, Ritual Sanctuary, Preparation of Rites, Cyber Angel Ben 10, and Gofu, the Vague Shadow. So that's actually very, very nice opening hand. So Gofu, you rarely see him, but when you do, he actually opens up a lot of cool plays. And we also have the Ritual Sanctuary and the Preparation of Rites here, so that's kind of cool. It would be even better if this was like a ritual spell or something, so you get maximum value from your Preparation of Rites. But what we have here, actually, you have to discard your Preparation of Rites with your Ritual Sanctuary in order to get the ritual spell to summon the Saphra. But yeah, let's play through this and see what we end up with. So we're going to activate the Ritual Sanctuary right here first, and we're going to go for our search. Now, Ritual Sanctuary, when it's activated, we're going to discard the Preparation of Rites from our hand, and we're going to go in and try to search for the Hymn of Light, which conveniently just so happened to be right at the bottom, so that's always nice. Okay, so now you're going to be very tempted to just go for the ritual play right here. What you want to do is first, of course, summon your Gofu. Now, I like to summon my Gofu in the very, very right side. You could be the very left side. It's just as long as it's not right under the extra monster zone. And then I'm going to summon 2 of my tokens to my field right here. My field's a little tight, but yeah, hopefully this will still work. Oh, I can just move that right there. Okay, so I like to summon one of my tokens right under the extra monster zone right here, just so that I can get a Link Spider going. So I'm going to use this token right here and Link summon my Link Spider right here. And now under my Link Spider, I actually can use these two, the Gofu, and I can use my other token to go for the Proxy Dragon right here. So I can summon that, and so we can actually see, you know, this deck can do some basic Link plays, but it's just not going to be very, very common. Okay, so now what we have here is the ritual play that we have in our hand. So what you want to do is activate your Hymn of Light. You're going to tribute your Ben 10, Cyber Angel Ben 10 from your hand, to summon your Saphra to your side of the field. Now, when you do that, your Ben 10 can actually activate and grab us a search for a light fairy type monster from our deck. Now, unfortunately, the Sarvis is a dragon, so you can't actually search for that with the Ben 10, but what you can search for are, of course, your Melodious pieces. But in this case, since we don't have Soprano, we don't have Cannon, there's no reason to search for the other piece right now, and we're just going to search for the Honest to add to our hand, because Honest is actually going to be very good to help us protect our Saphra from attacks. You can actually use it on the Proxy Dragon as well. Proxy Dragon is rather weak with 1400 attack, but he can potentially protect your field from, you know, destruction from your opponent's card effects. So that's always nice. Now, I shuffled the deck because when we enter the end phase, we are actually going to activate Saphra's effect again to draw 2 cards and then discard 1. So here we drew into our Soprano, but we drew into the pre-preparation of Rites, which is absolutely amazing for next turn plays. So that can potentially be a lifesaver later, because that's essentially a +1 and sets up almost completely for another ritual play. So the sensible card to discard right here is going to be your Soprano. Now, don't worry about discarding your Soprano, because as you can see, we already have a couple of spells in our graveyard in the form of Hymn of Light and the Preparation of Rites. So once we get enough spells in there, you know, Pre-Preparation of Rites is going to be another one. We're going to be very, very close to getting 4 spells in the grave, so you can just revive your Soprano. If you draw into your cannon, you can special summon it and go for future plays. But yeah, this is a pretty decent hand overall, and on your opponent's turn, if you do drop the Honest and destroy something, Sapphic can trigger at the end phase of your opponent's turn. You can draw more cards and kind of set up better for next turn. See if you can get anything else to complement this Pre-Preparation of Rites. So yeah, that does it for this combo, and thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Melodious content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.